Hey everybody, it's Alex, the founder and CEO at Motoroso, and in this video we're going to be doing a step-by-step installation guide of coilovers on our 2017 Ford Focus RS. Now we are installing the ST Suspensions XTA Plus 3 coilovers, which is a three-way adjustable coilover system that is going to dramatically improve the ride and handling and performance of our Focus RS, which we are building up to be a autocross monster and a track day beast. And if you want to learn more about those shocks, the coilover system, check out that separate video. We'll put a link to that here in the description. And we've also got lots of other great mods coming up with both product spotlight videos and installation guides. We've got a big brake kit coming, front and rear. We're going to be doing a turbo upgrade and white line sway bars and much, much more. So make sure you follow along with everything we do on the build. But in the meantime, let's get rolling on this coilover install starting up front. Let's start our installation by getting the car up on jack stands, removing the wheels, and opening the hood. Remove the plastic cover on this shroud, and then remove the 3 top hat bolts securing the top of the coilover. Disconnect the OEM brake lines from their mounting points on the coilover. Also disconnect the sway bar end link from its mounting point on the shock. Completely remove the lower shock clamp bolt. Now a little trick for getting this clamp apart is to actually feed the bolt from the opposite side and put a heavy piece of metal so that the bolt doesn't pass through the open section. Now you can tighten this down and it'll press the clamp apart. You only have to tighten it down a little bit to get the shock out. Before pulling the shock out, make sure to disconnect the OEM electronic damping control plug that's going into the top of the shock. Now you can push down on the lower control arm and lift up on the shock and then completely remove your OEM coilover. Before installation, make sure to check all the damping settings are set to the ST's factory recommended settings, or if you're going to make changes, just make sure that they're equal left and right. Being conscious of the orientation, set your new coilover in place using a single bolt on the top hat. Pressing down on the lower control arm, slide the coilover into the lower clamp. Now you may need to use a small mallet and a jack to get it to slide all the way into the clamp. On the STs, make sure you check the backside of the coilover for this little plate to make sure that everything is fully seated in place. Remove the clamp bolt from the opposite side and reinstall it in the OEM location to fasten the clamp and coilover together. Reconnect your brake lines and sway bar end links to the mounting points on the coilover body. Fully install your top hat nuts to secure your coilover in place, and then repeat this process on the other side of the vehicle. Now moving to the rear of the vehicle, in the trunk, remove the plastic cap from the top of the wheel well and then remove the damping control wiring from the top of the damper. From the inside of the wheel well, remove the upper mounting nuts. Now you can remove the lower shock bolt and slide the rear shock out. Next, use a jack to prop up the bottom of the lower control arm and then remove the lower control arm bolt. Press down on the lower control arm so it separates from its mounting point, and you should be able to easily remove the spring. Now we can start installing the ST suspension components for the rear. Start by disassembling the ST suspension lower mounting plate and ride height adjuster by removing the C-clip. Next, separate this plate by removing the 3 bolts and separating the 2 sides of the threaded plate. Before installing, apply Loctite to the plate bolts. Now install this plate by placing the threaded portion of the plate over the top of the lower control arm and the plate and the bolts from the underside. Now thread the spring perch into the threaded plate and set it somewhere in the middle as a starting point. Make sure this is even on both sides. This will affect the ride height and you will need to adjust this after they're installed. Make sure to reinstall the C-clip to keep this assembly together. Make sure to reuse the OEM rubber bushing for the top of the spring, and place the new rear spring on the spring perch and push it into the upper mounting location. Use a jack to reposition the lower control arm and reinstall the lower control arm mounting bolt. Now this was the hardest part of our installation. It took a little while and we had to use a mallet to get this bolt to go through, but once it's in, tighten it all down. Now transfer the OEM shock top hat to the new ST shock. Hang the new shock from the upper mounting bolts, then reinstall the OEM lower shock mounting bolt. Fully tighten all mounting bolts and complete this process on the other side, and you're done with the rear. Now you can replace your wheels and lower the vehicle to check the ride height at all 4 corners. We recommend using your body weight to compress the suspension front and rear, left and right, to help the suspension settle into its ride height. Then using a tape measure from the ground to your wheel well, you can measure the ride height on all 4 corners. Now from the factory, the basic setup will ride 1/4 inch higher on the driver's side, the left side of the vehicle, to accommodate for the weight of the driver. Now if you'd like to raise or lower the ride height of the vehicle in the front, you'll do this by loosening the 2.5mm set screw on the lower spring collar. Make note of every full turn rotation, because 1 rotation is 1/4 inch of ride height. Turning it clockwise towards the spring will raise the vehicle, and counterclockwise away from the spring will lower the vehicle. Make sure to gently tighten your set screw to ensure the lower collar doesn't move on its own. In the rear, you can adjust the ride height by using a 10mm Allen at the bottom of the spring perch. Each turn is also equivalent to 1/4 inch in ride height adjustment here. Clockwise will raise the vehicle and counterclockwise will lower the vehicle.
All right, there it is. Our ST Suspensions XTA Plus 3 coilovers are all installed now. And of course, the last thing we had to do was set the ride height to where we like it. Now, we are very happy with how the car looks now. Made a couple of adjustments here and there. And we were measuring from the ground to the top of the wheel arch, front and rear. And it is set as exactly 25.25 inches front and rear. But that still gives it a little bit of that aggressive rake forward, that super aggressive angle that the Focus RS is definitely known for. So in case you want to know exactly what that ride height is for us, that's where it's at. You can definitely go lower. We didn't want it totally slammed. Now, of course, now when we take it out and we're going to go to the racetrack, we're going to be tuning the damping, like the compression and the rebound. Of course, we talk about all those features in our product spotlight video. We recommend checking that out. We've also got a lot of other goodies on this build. We've got the FSPE full body kit, our Rotiform KB1 wheels went on, and we've got our R1 Concepts big brake kit. All of those videos are out or coming very, very soon. Make sure you check those all out on our channel and subscribe, because we're going to be doing our big turbo upgrade, downpipe and exhaust system very soon. And then we'll be tuning, and we're going to be putting down over 400 wheel horsepower with our Focus RS. Cannot wait to do all this. Of course, you can shop for all of these products at Motoroso.com, and you can reach us toll free at 833-668-6767. Subscribe to the channel for all our upcoming videos, and thanks for watching.